All right, quick tip here. It's really good to have a pan to put all of your parts in that you take out so that when you put them all back in, you don't forget something. Luckily I didn't tighten these down yet, but I forgot to put this back inside the distributor. So I got to take that apart and do that. You put all your parts in one pan, and you'll see that the part's missing before you get too far along, and you'll know where everything goes. So anyway, learning, always learning, make mistakes, do it over, get it right. Hey guys, welcome back to TWC Projects. So today, a little different. I've been working up at Bear Ridge, and you've seen me, trying to do a lot of cleanup, and I'll continue that too. But I just took a little vacation, headed up to Maine, and visited my cousin who works on cars a lot, and well, not a lot. I mean, he's been doing it for a lifetime. He's really, really good, and he has some hot rods, a lot of different hot rods he's built, and of course he does, all kinds of stuff. So it was great. I got re-energized hanging out and working with him a little bit, and he gave me some ideas for what to do with this Porsche. As you know, where we left off, my 1983 Porsche 928S is a wonderful car, but won't run. It'll start briefly if I put starter fluid in the down in the air intake, or maybe probably can put a little gasoline in there too to run a little bit, a few seconds, but then it stops running. So we've gone through the whole fuel system. We've done, cleaned out the tank. We put a whole new screen in there, resealed everything, new pump, new filter, blew out all the lines right up through the fuel rails. So I know we've got fuel and the proper pressure coming up into the fuel rails. The injector tips, we put nodes on the various tips. I tried 3 different on 2 different sides of the engine, and just couldn't get this thing to even give me a signal that. So it looks like there's electricity's not getting to the fuel injector tips for some reason. Replaced the ECU twice. I've gone through and cleaned, I think, 7 different grounds throughout the whole car. Made sure all the grounds were good. Pulled the whole panel and relay panel apart, cleaned up every piece of corrosion, every issue, checked every relay. I've got a relay tester. I bought a lot of gear just to try to work on this thing. Still no luck. So there's a lot more detail probably back in some of the other videos. But so today, what we're going to try to do, and what my cousin said is, he's like, hey, it sounds like your computer is not getting a signal to tell it that the motor is even turning. And so it's not going to send fuel to anything, it's not going to let those injectors open up at all. So did a little bit more research on Renless, and I think, he said there's got to be like some kind of pulse reader, some kind of a signal, probably on the distributor cap or inside the distributor. So I did a little homework on Renless, found out yes indeed there's this green wire that comes out, and we'll look at that in just a minute. But so I got to pull the distributor cap off, which I've started to do, and then we'll get down in there and see what we can find. We'll test that wire all the way back through. So anyway, welcome to TWC Projects. Hopefully we make some good progress today, and I'd love to hear this thing start up and run on its own. Don't know, we'll see, but we're gonna give it a shot. Let's get going. All right, so here's the green wire that we talked about, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to test continuity, I guess, between here and wherever I can find it goes. I see it going over here and plugging into this. So I'll start by testing continuity from here to here, I guess, and then we'll go from here. I think this one goes back to the ECU, to the computer. So, and of course that's based on how fast the motor is spinning. It's obviously keep the cam is in exact sync, and it's pulsating the speed of rotation. So the tachometer is run off of this, as well as the ECU, and hopefully that is maybe that's the problem. So first thing I found, now it may still be connecting okay, but I popped this little release pin and the whole thing was already broken. I don't know if you can see that, if that's focusing or not, but that might be step one. So we're gonna get the tester and start going back through this thing, but I can see that that was an issue at one point. So like the whole housing piece is broken off inside there, but it looks like that they were still terminating correctly, and you can see there's a crack going up through this thing. So I'm probably not the first one to run into this issue or pull this apart, because I can see it's broken. And I also noticed that this was just sitting there. So I can see I've got to get a new hose. I had already put a new hose over here, and I see I've got to do a new one up to here as well, because that was rotten through as well. So I guess we're going to keep finding a few things as we go along here. The car is over 40 years old, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I ended up marking the distributor, and it looks like I'm going to pull it out to get to this. I had tried to get the metal bracket off so that I could pull the green wire out to get to test it, but I can't get to it, so I'm gonna have to pull the whole thing out, I guess, is where I am right now. Alright, so we're gonna test from here back to there, and then if that works, then we'll go all the way back to where it comes into the computer and see how we do. All right, so I put my ohms meter on there, and or set it to ohms, put my meter on there, and I got continuity. Both terminals of that green wire are working perfectly from the distributor to here. So next thing we're gonna do is, I guess, test from here back. All right, so I decided to hook both terminals to see what kind of resistance I'm getting as let's see if I can get this to set so you can see it. Hopefully you can see that meter. And I'm gonna just rotate this thing ever so slightly and rotate it back to where it was. But you notice as I'm turning, it disconnects. Resistance goes higher, and then it jumps again. So it feels like this is working. I just don't know what it's supposed to be. But I think that's a good sign. So let's put all this back together. At some point, once I have the thing running and I've worked through the kinks and I know it's not a complete waste of energy, I'm going to pull a lot of this stuff all apart again and clean it all very carefully and make this look like new. I'll take all these pipes, intake, cover everything off, and thoroughly clean it. So, but for now, I'm just focused on getting rid of the gremlins and getting this thing to run. All right, I don't know. I think that I got something wrong with the distributor when I put it back in, because it doesn't seem to be firing up now. It's almost like it's misfiring. So, All right, so I just took it apart, and it looked like the distributor itself wasn't really properly seated in, so it was kind of spinning in place. So hopefully, now that I got it locked in tight now, hopefully it'll work. So we'll give it one more shot, see what happens. All right, well, it fired up, which is good. That means I fixed the distributor issue that I just hadn't put the thing back together correctly. I did trace the wire, the green wire, all the way back down to pin number 1 on the, I'll show you. So it's good that it fired up. I got the distributor put back together correctly. So looking through my wire diagram here, pin number 1 is the engine speed sensor. That's the pulse sensor from the distributor. And I was able to hook up the ohm meter and put it onto the one of the wires. There's 2 coming out of the distributor. You remember I tested the continuity all the way through for the green wire where it's plugged in up front, and then I tested from there to here, and I was able to get one of the wires to connect to all the way through, but the other one I assumed was a ground, and I couldn't get ground continuity when I grounded up here on the bar. I couldn't get it to test, so I'm not sure what that second wire is. But anyway, I think this is where we're going to end for today. I'm sorry, I feel like it's probably not that interesting to watch me try to eliminate the problem, or identify the problem by eliminating, which really is what I end up doing, I guess, is eliminating what it is not. So, we have gone through and done a lot of work so far. This video, I don't feel like I did a ton, but I made some progress. Part of the issue was, of course, the battery. I had to charge the battery too. And then when I put that distributor back together, I put it back in correctly, and I got that seated correctly, and it looks like it's working now because the thing just fired up and ran for a few seconds, as you heard. But I don't think I've addressed the fuel injector problem, so may have to kind of go back to ground zero. I also spent a bit of time, which obviously I didn't record, going through reading a lot more on Renlist, and downloading a bunch of different wire diagrams. So I'm going to try to see if I can get those on a computer instead of trying to look at them on my phone, print those out, and make a little bit more progress. I'm pretty confident this is a wiring issue somewhere, or a connection corrosion problem. So I think I'm gonna have to stop here. I think that's about as good as we're gonna get today. I need to do more homework, so I don't know if this is worthy of a video or not, but I guess I'll put it together anyway, because it's just what it takes. It wants to run. It's trying to run, but it just won't quite run. So I'm going to say that's it for today. Thank you for joining me on TWC Projects. It'll be awfully exciting, I'll say, when that thing finally starts up and keeps running. I mean, I can't tell you. There's so many things that I'm ready to work on that I want to do that are fun things on that car. There's a lot of things that aren't fun too that need to be done. breaks and seals all over the place. All the fluids I really haven't done. I mean, the oil actually looked pretty good in that. So other than the gasoline, putting in fresh gasoline earlier, which I need to kind of, I've got to deal with that soon too, because the gasoline that's in it's probably no longer fresh now. It's been in there for a few years since I last worked on it. I do have some more 93 octane in a gas can I just got recently, but I don't want to keep putting too much in there because it's that whole ethanol thing. So anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you for joining me on TWC Projects. Thank you for helping me try to fix things. You know, usually we just we create things, fix things, and enjoy God's creation outside. A little rainy today, on and off, so I was able to work inside a little bit today. But I hope you keep doing well. Until next time, have a fantastic week, and I will see you on the next project.